Hi everybody, I'm Brutazilla, and today I have for you my very first interview. That's right, I've conducted my very first interview with another YouTuber, and his name is John Legrand, and his YouTube channel, and people might know him as Legrandzilla. He's really famous in I would say, the model community. He makes really awesome Godzilla models, and not just Godzilla models, King Kong, Ultraman, bunch of Kaiju related models, really awesome. And the cool part about it is he lives in my hometown. That's so that's pretty badass. And he invited me to come over his house, and I got to see his models firsthand and hang out for a while and do my interview with him. So, because I met him last year at G-Fest, and I saw his models there in person, and seeing his models at his house was even better because, I got to see his whole collection, and beautiful collection. You put a lot of work into them, man, and like I told you before, they're just beautiful masterpieces. I have to say that. But yeah, this is my interview with him, and I just want to say again, thank you, John, and thank you to your wife too, for inviting me into your home and showing me your generous hospitality. It was really awesome to meet you, and yeah, and basically do my interview and see all your awesome work. And yeah, so without further ado, guys, here is our interview. Hi everybody, I'm Brutazilla, and this is a special video I got because I am here at my new friend I want to make, his house. His name is John Legrand, and he's Legrandzilla on Deviantart and his YouTube channel. Check them out, and I'm going to do a special interview here with him, and I have about 20 some questions here, so let's get this started.
Hopefully I can answer.
First off, one of the questions I'd love to ask everybody, what is your favorite Godzilla film and why?
I think I like the GMK movie 2001 because I like the Godzilla design, and I like that there's more than one monster in it, and my favorite monster is the 2001 Baragon.
Okay.
And I like Baragon anyway, but that's my favorite Baragon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, second question. You're basically, your main thing in this Godzilla hobby, we all have different hobbies where it comes like, we either collect stuff or we like draw stuff like for artists and stuff. Your main hobby in this collection is pretty much model kit building.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to get into model kit building?
Well, I used to build models when I was young. I did the Aurora, all the monsters, but my favorite one was the Godzilla and the King Kong. And probably 15 years ago, most of the family went off to California on a trip, and I stayed home with my youngest son, and we decided to go just hang out and go around, and we were going to go get something to eat. We went by a hobby store, and I said, let's just go on in there. And we went in there, and I saw they had all these models that I'd built before, Creature from the Black Lagoon and all of them. And I said, why don't we buy a King Kong and a Godzilla, and then we'll try building them together. And I wanted to introduce him to model building. Mm-hmm. Now I had a lot of, I had ships, I had airplanes, I had a lot of different things, tanks, but I mainly liked the monsters, and they were all styrene plastic kits. And I wanted to just see if my son would like to do it. Well, he didn't get into it. It was too hard for him. And so I ended up building the two. But the guy that at that store, which isn't around anymore, said, hey, if you like Godzilla, I can get you other model kits that are Godzilla related. There was the Polar Lights had made a 16-inch tall Godzilla that was a 54 Godzilla. And also Bandai had a lot of styrene kits of Mecha Godzilla and Godzilla 64 with the Mothra. And so he also showed me how to make dioramas using supplies for railroads and stuff like that, model railroad things. And so I tried making my first diorama, and I put some of those plastic kits on it, and I thought that was pretty fun. And then I ended up going to my first G-Fest, and I didn't bring any models or anything like that, but when I went to G-Fest, I saw they had a model contest, and I had, when I went to that first one, I was talked into trying vinyl and resin kits. And the next year I came and I brought one little bear gun that I had gotten on eBay, and I got a first prize, and I won a G-Tempest Godzilla 54. And from then on, I've gone every year, and I've won something every year.
Nice.
So that's a long story, but
cool. So where do you buy most of your model kits from?
well, I found quite a few on eBay, but if you do buy them on eBay, be careful not to get recasts, because what a recast is somebody, like, usually it's Taiwan or Thailand or Hong Kong. They buy a model kit, they make molds out of the kit, and they make cheap knockoffs of the kit, and that's really bad for the artists. It's not as good a quality, for one thing, but also it's kind of a way that eventually could discourage model suppliers from even doing it anymore. And so, but if you ask them the question, is this a recast, they have to say if it is or not. And a lot of good sellers will say this is an original, not a recast. But I bought quite a few on eBay. I also am on the Clubhouse Modeling Forum, where I know people there that sell kits. I have a few friends that sell kits. Also Kaiju Japan, they're also on YouTube, and they're on Instagram and stuff, and Facebook. A guy that, his name's Redtail, he and his wife own that store, and he does sculpting, and he a lot of times is the person, if you ever see a model kit and it's got a painted picture of that model, he may have been the person that built and painted it for the picture. So that's a good source of getting models.
Okay, and now how much do they usually cost?
It can range quite a bit. You know, like I talked about with the styrene kits, those are pretty cheap. And even now, you know, you might spend from $40 to $150 for one of the old styrene Godzilla or King Kong kits. The resin kits, they're a lot of times real limited in how many they make, and they can also be pretty heavy and expensive, and so it can really range. But I've seen model kits that cost over $1,000. But I would say the average price for a model kit today, if it's resin, is going to be around the $200-300 range for the kit. And you know, sometimes you're lucky and you find cheaper ones, but I think usually they're going to be a couple $100 for a resin kit.
Okay, and when you do your model kit building, how many hours do you usually put into it when completing it?
It can really vary a lot, because you know, I make dioramas too, and so that's a whole other thing. But depending on what it is, like this model kit here is a Tease Facto Godzilla 2014 that I'm doing as a commission for someone. They bought the model kit, they sent it to me, and I'm building it, and I'll send it back to them built. And this one's pretty easy to build because there's not a whole lot of parts. That the fins were pretty easy to put on. Sometimes a kit like this may even have you know, all the fins already on there, so you don't have to glue them on. But when you build a kit, you have to you have to glue it together and pin it, and then you need to make it so the seams aren't showing, so you don't know where they attached. And then the process of painting, I do a lot of different layers, but this one I'm working on here is a kind of a chibi version of King Kong versus Godzilla. And I just started working on this, and I did some airbrushing on it. It's not done painted yet, but when I get ready to put it together, I gotta get it to fit together like this, and then I'm going to have to make sure that it's puttied and then painted, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth, as far as getting it so it looks like it's seamless. Mm-hmm. And when you have a kit that's like a King Kong that's got hair, getting the seamless look is difficult. Mm-hmm. So because the hairs, Godzilla is fairly easy to do comparatively to other things, but different monsters are a little more complicated than others. Mm-hmm. This one here is a vinyl kit, and it was really difficult to get this piece on here right. I had to heat it up and then use rubber bands to keep it on there. Use super glue, but it took quite a bit to get that on there right. And I'm still in the process of painting this. I've just airbrushed it. I haven't done any oil on it yet. So it just depends. This one's been sitting around for a while, and so have these two. This one I haven't put too many hours into yet, but I'm hoping to get done with this pretty soon.
Okay, cool, man. So what was your very first, if you remember, your very first model kit?
Well, let's not count the Polar Lights or Aurora kits. Mm-hmm. Let's say, I think my first vinyl kit I bought online. I met a person online that had a store, and it was a Godzilla 2000 poster version, 20 centimeter. Mm-hmm. And right after I got that one, I got a KOC Godzilla 2000 that was a vinyl kit, and it's 30 centimeter. And those were probably my first two vinyl kits I did. And I've sold both those. I don't have them anymore, but I would say those were the first ones. Yeah.
Okay. And of all the model kits you have built, what is your favorite?
Okay. Well, I think one of my favorites is my big bust of the GMK Godzilla. I got hanging on my wall upstairs. Okay. Sculpted by Shane Folks. It's really, really detailed. It's really impressive. But I also like my bear guns, and I think my Monster Maker 28 Baragon 2001 is one of my favorite, and the diorama I have with it has a lot of detail, so that whole piece is one of my favorites.
Okay. And I don't know if you have it already or whatnot, but if you do have one, what is your holy grail model kit? Like one you've acquired or one you haven't acquired that's so rare?
Well, I know I've had different grails at different times, and I'm kind of drawing a blank about what kit I don't have that I really want. But I think if I could ever get like a 50 centimeter Baragon, I saw somebody had sculpted like a bust of Baragon one time, and I don't know if it's a one of a kind. I've never seen it in kit form. I saw it at a convention one time. It looked really beautiful. I think I would have really liked to get that. I don't know if it's anything I'd ever be able to acquire or not.
Okay, and you said already Baragon is your favorite kaiju. Mm-hmm. Why is Baragon your favorite kaiju?
Well, he's cute, for one thing, expressive, tenacious. I like how he went up against Godzilla the way he did, even though he's quite a bit smaller. Mm-hmm. I don't know, he just seems like a puppy. And,
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just always been, I've always been kind of drawn to him. I thought he's a neat. I like how he's got the ears and the horn and all that, and big eyes.
Now, which one is your favorite one?
Of the bear guns?
Yes.
The 2001.
Okay.
The one he's a little bit more reddish. His eyes are red. I just like the design of it. I'd really like to see Legendary come up with both Baragon and Anguirus again. Anguirus is number 2.
Okay. That would be cool. Okay, now what is your favorite Godzilla design of all the movies?
I'm going to say maybe the Godzilla 2000. I like the lizard-like look of him. I like the way the fins were, really impressive. Close second would probably be GMK. And I also like the 62. Yeah, I think I kind of go for more the evil-looking ones. You know, the ones that look like they could do some damage. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite Gamera film and why?
Okay, I like the trilogy that came out in the 90s, and I think I probably like, it's kind of between number 2 and number 3. I'm going to say number 3. I like the Gamera from number 2, the 96 film design. I like the design of Gamera, probably the best there. But I like the Trauma Gamera that showed up in 3.
Yeah,
and
that was cool.
That is my favorite Gamera. You've seen the trailer probably of the newest Gamera, but I don't know if it's for real, if it's really going to come out.
I heard it got canceled.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I
that
heard,
looked like it would have been pretty cool.
Yes.
I didn't like Gamera the Brave that much, and I don't really like the 65, 67 that well, just because it's so, it's for kids.
Yeah, except for the first 3.
Yeah, but I think that that trilogy was so well done. I think it's amongst the best kaiju films I've even compared to Godzilla.
Yeah, especially the Heisei, because they say it's, in a way, it's like those 3 movies alone, kind of like somewhat better than the Heisei Godzilla, all 7 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite King Kong film and why?
All right. I think I like the original 33 because it's just amazing how well it was done. I think it's kind of interesting how it came out during the Depression, and people flock to see that and get away from hardships and stuff like that. But just the stop action and how they did that and the way they put the story together, I never get bored watching it. You'd watch it a million times probably. Every other film after that, King Kong film, was kind of a reminder and compared to the other one. Peter Jackson would be the best one after that, in my opinion. I think this next one coming up, Skull Island, is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a direct remake though. It looks like it's its own thing,
It seems like its own thing entirely. It's not. It's trying to go back to the 30s, obviously. But yeah, it's a real clear remake of Kong, and size if nothing else. I can't wait to have a model kit of that one.
I can't wait to get an X Plus figure of that. Okay, so what is your favorite Ultraman series and why?
I am most familiar with the original series, but I think I like Tiga, and I think it's because I like the characters that were in the series.
Me too. Tiga's my favorite too.
Yeah, I like that he was able to change his power to fast or strong or be in between. And I just liked, I liked the people they had as, I thought that the girl, they always have a girl, and she's cute, And so anyway, yeah, I think probably Tiga.
Okay. So, which one did you prefer when it comes to the two newest Godzilla films? Legendary, or Godzilla 2014, or Shin Godzilla?
Well, I had a lot of problems with the design of the legendary Godzilla, which I'm getting a little bit used to. I didn't like the feet were too much like an elephant's feet, and the eyes and teeth are so small. But I did like how they portrayed him, and I wish there would have been more screen time of him. But the design was one of the things I wish they would have done a little different. Although it is cool in itself, it's just not my favorite. I'm glad, I'm kind of contradicting myself, but at the same time, I'm glad it's not just looking exactly like something else that they already did.
Yeah.
It's a fresh thing, and I kind of like it for that. I just, as a model builder though, and the eyes are so small, and I have a 50 centimeter one of these upstairs that I put glass eyes in. The eyes were so small, I could use those same glass eyes in a 20 centimeter figure. And so that's where I'm coming from with that. The Shin Godzilla, at first I didn't like the eyes on it because they looked so much like the googly eyes you can go to Michael's and buy.
Or fish eyes too.
Yeah. But after seeing the film, I appreciate the design more, and I can kind of see what they were doing. When I first saw the pictures, I was like, "What is this?" It just looked like a zombie, raw flesh type stuff. So I'm kind of back and forth on that. I think that they did a little bit better getting a lot of action in the Shin Godzilla, but awful lot of talking in that.
Yeah.
This one didn't have as much action as I'd like to see, and they had a little bit more character, people type stuff, but I didn't really relate to any of them very much.
Yeah, except for Bryan Cranston, who
was
should never have died.
Quick.
Who should never have died.
Yeah.
Because that's the one character you connect with, and then all of a sudden, boom, they get rid of him.
He's gone.
And then his son is boring.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so we know King Kong vs. Godzilla is coming, a remake of it. Who would you rather prefer if they ever decided to make this movie, or one of these movies, Godzilla vs. Gamera or Godzilla vs. Ultraman?
Godzilla vs. Gamera.
Same here.
I've wanted to see that for a long time. Godzilla vs. Ultraman, that would be fun too, but I think I'd like to see Godzilla vs. Gamera most.
In a way, it kind of happened already if you compare Gyrus to Godzilla, even though it's supposed to be the same suit,
Yeah.
And I heard Godzilla vs. Gamera was going to happen. I'm not sure how true this is, but I heard a rumor that they were supposed to do it instead of Final Wars or something like that, or something weird like that. Like Dai, the company that made Gamera, approached Toho and said we'd like to make Gamera vs. Godzilla, but Toho apparently said that Gamera's nothing compared to our Godzilla. We don't want Godzilla to fight him, so they said hell no, he's pathetic or whatever. And in Tokyo SOS, that's why they had the Kamibus, the turtle from Space Amoeba, in there. Got killed by Godzilla easily. It was supposed to be like a knockoff to Gamera, like, hey, he's nothing,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how true that is, but that's just what I heard. So.
Well, you don't see a big franchise of Kamibus, though. They did stick him in another movie, but he didn't even have that big a part in the Yog. So, I don't think I agree with Toho on that, but I could see where they look at them as a competition, and they're kind of digging their heels in. But I'd like to see them, put away their differences there and work together and come up with a great kaiju film. I think anybody that loves kaiju films probably has some love for Gamera as well as Godzilla, and would love to see them come together. I hope both companies would see that.
Me too. Okay, so of all the Godzilla films, the Showa, the Heisei, and Millennium, what is your favorite one from each era? Your favorite Showa, Heisei, and Millennium?
Okay. Well, Showa, I think Godzilla vs. King Kong and Godzilla vs. The Thing are both ones that I really like. The original I like too. Let's say, that's a hard one. I think maybe I would say, this might be surprising to you, but I think I might say Space Godzilla. There's some things about that I really thought was funny, and I just enjoyed it. One of my favorite parts of that, I'll just say, and you ask why, is when they describe how Space Godzilla came about.
Yeah, I like that too, the origin.
When the girl saying, talks about Biollante and all that stuff going about, and it goes into a black hole and through a white hole or something. It goes through this whole long thing that's just ridiculous, and then says, and so then we have Space Godzilla, and they go, Space Godzilla, you know. I just thought it was funny. As far as Millennium, one of my favorite ones is Godzilla versus Megaguirus.
Okay.
But I also like I said, GMK. So yeah, I like a lot of the Millennium ones.
Okay. And if you had, like, let's say a favorite Godzilla theme, like music or anything from a Godzilla movie, soundtrack, what is your favorite Godzilla music? Theme, or it could be a whole soundtrack to it?
I'm not into the composers and things as much as a lot of people, but I would say just the basic stuff from the Showa films, all those themes were give me good memories and things like that. I'll say this, that Final Wars, I did not like at all the music from that, and trying to think who it was again. I can't remember who the guys were that made the music for that, but I remember it was music that I listened a lot to growing up by these guys, and they did the song Lucky Man.
Okay.
God, I can't remember. I'll remember after this.
The only ones I remember was Sum 41. I think that was Sum 41, the one that did that American song when Zilla was fighting Godzilla.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Okay.
It was Keith Emerson, I think, did the music for Final Wars.
Okay.
And it's a lot of synthesizer and stuff, but it just seems so manic and weird. I just didn't think it fit for Godzilla. So.
Okay. And basically, if you could be any kaiju for a day, who would it be? I think I have an idea.
You think I'm going to say Baragon, don't you? I don't know. Maybe I'd be Baragon. I don't know. Baragon is one of the probably a kaiju that I like, but maybe I wouldn't want to be because he never really wins.
Yeah. And
a skinny Frankenstein guy that you wouldn't even imagine you could lift him, beats him up. So I don't think I'd want to be him. So yeah, I don't know.
No idea.
Maybe just Godzilla.
Maybe just Baragon.
Or Godzilla. I don't know.
Okay, so what of all the Godzilla movies, what do you think is the most overrated and underrated?
Okay, I think overrated. Well, it's easier for me to say which movies I didn't think were very good. Like, I don't think Godzilla versus Megalon was very well done. Godzilla versus Gigan, I don't think was very well done. The ones that use a lot of stock footage disappointed me. But I really think Godzilla versus the Thing is really a well done and entertaining movie. I think it's great in a lot of ways. So I don't know. I guess I don't know what else to say about that.
Okay. And last thing I have, G-Fest. What do you think of G-Fest? Like I just got G-Fest here. What do you think?
It's heaven on earth.
And what would you, pretty much. And like, what would you recommend to like people who've never gone to G-Fest? Like, what would you say to them?
You should go. If you're a Godzilla fan, you should go. You asked earlier where I get a lot of my models. I get a lot of them there. Kaiju Modeler and other people at the dealer's room sell models. I always come back with a lot of models and things that help me make models and dioramas. There's something for everybody there, I think. If you're into the costumes, movies, whatever. But as a model builder and a collector, I really like G-Fest for that.
Okay. That's it. That concludes my interview. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you very much for doing this. And that's it, guys. So if you want to check him out, check out his Deviantart on Legrandzilla, and check out his YouTube channel for a bunch of great YouTube videos as well. Same thing, Legrandzilla. And any other way they can reach you?
I've got an Instagram account. The same name. Yeah.
Okay, that's it, guys. So hope you guys like what you saw. Please comment, like, subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, everybody, go Godzilla.